So let's talk about something we're all a part of, a new kind of public square. This one doesn't have a soapbox or a town crier. Instead, justice is delivered with the click of a button. It's fast, it's public, and it all plays out right on our screens.
And that brings us to this really powerful idea. Just think about that for a second. The power to punish someone, to hold them accountable, that used to belong to judges and courtrooms. Now it's been handed out to pretty much anyone with a social media account.
Let me ask you a question, and be honest with yourself. Is your oldest tweet a crime? It's kind of a chilling thought, right? In this new digital world, the past isn't really in the past. Something you said, maybe as a joke years ago, could suddenly be dug up and judged by a whole new set of rules. So let's really unpack this idea of the digital gavel. We're going to dive into how public shaming online has morphed into a final verdict, a kind of crowdsourced justice that happens completely outside of any formal legal system. And this isn't just random anger. It's more like mob rule by algorithm. To really get our heads around this, we need to break down a pretty specific academic term that kind of defines this whole phenomenon. And that term is algorithmic ochlocracy. Okay, ochlocracy is just an old fancy word for mob rule. The really important new part is algorithmic. See, it's not just a mob anymore. It's a mob that's been supercharged by technology. Technology that's literally built to amplify outrage. So, how does a system like this actually work to control people? Well, to understand its power, we have to think about it almost like a new kind of prison, a digital one. To see what I mean, let's compare two models of surveillance. On the one hand, you've got the classic panopticon, the prison tower, where one guard can see all the prisoners. The few watch the many. But now, check this out, we've got the distributed panopticon. In this model, everyone is watching everyone else. We've all become both the prisoner and the guard. And that right there is the big shift. The real fear isn't some government agency listening in anymore. It's what's called lateral surveillance. It's the person right next to you at the coffee shop with their smartphone out, ready to record, screenshot, and share. That fear can actually change our behavior more than any law on the books. Okay, so if we're all being watched all the time, what happens when someone messes up? Well, this leads to a really critical point: punishment without scale. Because in this system, the punishment often doesn't fit the crime, not even close. This chart just makes it so clear. In a real legal system, if you say something clumsy, there's a calibrated, limited consequence. But in the world of algorithmic ochlocracy, one clumsy phrase in a tweet, the punishment can be totally uncalibrated and, well, potentially infinite. It can follow you forever. And the stakes are just incredibly high. We're talking about something called total social death. And no, that's not an exaggeration. It means losing your job, your reputation getting completely torched online, even being cut off from your friends and community, all from one mistake amplified a million times over. What this all boils down to is a fundamental clash between two very different ideas of justice. On one side, you have the legal system we've built up over centuries. And on the other, you have this new, wild system that's emerging online. Think about our traditional legal system for a second. It's built on these incredible pillars designed to make sure things are fair, right? Things like an impartial judge, the right to defend yourself, making sure the punishment fits the crime, and, super important, a statute of limitations, so a mistake from your past doesn't haunt you forever. Now here's the kicker. In the online court of public opinion, none of those safeguards are guaranteed. They're just gone. Instead, you get a system with a completely different and kind of terrifying set of rules. Here, the verdict, which is usually just outrage, comes before the trial, before anyone even bothers to check the facts. And since the digital archive is forever, there's no statute of limitations, and there's no impartial judge, there's only the mob. So, if this is the world we're living in, what kind of society does it create? When public shaming is the ultimate punishment, our reputations become literally everything. What you get is a culture of performative morality and extreme caution. Basically, a society of people walking on eggshells. We're so afraid of saying the wrong thing that instead of being authentic, we end up performing a version of ourselves that we think the online crowd will approve of. And there's a name for this whole system: the reputation economy. It's a world where your digital reputation, your online social credit, becomes your most valuable asset. And at the same time, it's also your most fragile one. It can all be shattered in an instant. And all of this leaves us with one last big, unsettling question to think about. In a world of digital gavels, where millions of anonymous people are holding one, who's really in charge of justice anymore? Is it us? Is it the algorithm? Or is it something else entirely?